Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Triple Cross podcast. You're here with your host, yours truly, me, Casey, at Niners Fan Man on YouTube. You can find me there. Follow me there. I don't post a lot of content there yet, but it has links to all the stuff that I'm on right now. So you can find all the content that I am featured on. And I will start posting content there at someday. I don't know when that day is, but I'm going to start doing something with that at some point. So follow me on YouTube. That's my preferred platform. If I had followers anywhere, I'd like it to be there. So do that. Today we've got some fun stuff coming on the Triple Cross podcast. I am going to be solo this whole show, no co-host. So we're going to be playing some fun games, some exercises. I'm going to keep it NFL and NBA hybrid, which is true to our format here of late. I'm going to be tackling the NFL Immaculate Grid. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. I think it's more popular with baseball fans. Immaculate Grid. I'll get to the particulars of what that means. You need to know it's a trivia game. But I'll get to the particulars of what that looks like when I pull that up on the screen for y'all. And I'll explain it really nice for the audio listeners as well. And then after that, I'm going to do a couple of NBA little Sporkle quizzes just to get myself warmed up. You know, I am the NFL guy on Triple Cross, not really the NBA guy. So I'm going to warm up with a little quiz, see if I can just name all the NBA teams within the allotted time. I should be able to do that. I know all the NBA teams. It's a matter of whether I can recall them all within however long that quiz gives you. So that should be a little fun warm up to get me into the NBA content. And then the headline portion of the episode, I'm going to build my NBA dream team. Basically found a website where it'll allow you to do that. Basically fantasy auction draft style. Each player is worth a certain amount, and I have to build a team around that. Hey, that's the last thing I'm doing, so I'll explain that when I get to it. If you guys are watching right now on YouTube, we are live on playback. If you're watching on playback, we are live on YouTube. Feel free to watch wherever you'd like to watch on. It's all the same to me. We are going to head to playback at the end of the episode to do our giveaways. So no giveaways during. We're going to wait until the very end. Do that on playback. You'll have to be on playback to do that. I'll give you guys a heads up when you should do that. So yeah, no need to do that right now. If you don't want to, I'll give you plenty of time, but just a fair warning. If you don't have an account, you might want to jump on that early if this is your first time watching. And if it is, thank you for being here. I'm Casey. Welcome to the Triple Cross podcast. Let's get into it. All right. First up, I am going to try not to mess up any of this tech stuff, because that would be tragic for the stream. So first, we're going to get into the NFL Immaculate Grid here. This is how it looks. This is today's version. If you don't know, Immaculate Grid is basically a website where they give you trivia games, this trivia game in particular, every day. Like I said, I think it's more popular with baseball, but they've come out with the football one more recently. So there's a new updated one of these every day that you can do, and you can go see the old ones. I haven't done many of these at all. I've tried a couple, and I don't think I've ever finished one. I've seen a lot of baseball creators do baseball content around this. So let's see how I fare here. Who knows? Let's kind of take it a little bit by ear. So just to explain it, obviously this is a grid. So in that top left corner, I'll do good by the audio listeners here. So we have 3x3 grid here. 3 things along the top, 3 things along the left side. At each intersection, I have to pick a player that played for both teams, or one of the columns is actually a stat category, a certain stat threshold. In that case, the player would just have to have hit that threshold of stats, as well as be with the corresponding team. It should make a lot of sense. If you are listening on audio, maybe check us out on YouTube if that didn't make any sense. But yeah, basically I'm filling out a grid with players who fit the criteria of both the line and the row that they belong to. Shout out to the chat. How's it going, everybody? I'm in 2 chats today on YouTube and on playback. I don't know how closely I'm going to watch either because I don't want answers to be leaked to me for these types of games. So maybe once I'm stumped, I'll look to the chat. But yeah, talk amongst yourselves. Have a little bit of conversation. I'm going to get into this Immaculate Grid. I have a little scratch sheet of paper down here. If you see me looking down, that's what that is. Okay, so this is today's Immaculate Grid, by the way. You can go play play as well on Immaculate Grid after this if you want to go see if you can do it. Like I said, they have one for every day. I'm going to do this one and one more. I've decided I'm going to do this one. I'm not super confident I'll be able to finish it. They tend to be tougher than they seem when you're just watching. But then I am going to rewind back in time after this until I hit a one that has a Niners on it, because I think that's going to give me a massive advantage, as I am the Niners fan, man. We're going to stay on brand today. Let me take a little sippy sip and we'll get into it. All right. I'm looking at this grid, and the stats are the easiest thing. Like, I think they have one every time. I'm not totally sure, but everyone I've looked at on the football, they have at least one stat. So I've found anytime I've done it, I've been able to clear the stat category every time. It's a good place to start as long as I'm not taking away answers that I could use at other cells, because you can't reuse the same person more than once. So I'm going to try to double check and make sure that before I lock somebody in on that stat column, that they can't be used somewhere else. So if I'm looking, it's along the top, we have Chargers, Bills, and 10 plus interceptions thrown in a season since 1999. So that's just, have they thrown 10 picks in a single season since 2000, basically. On the left side, so the things that those three will have to correspond with are the Rams, the Cowboys, and the Steelers. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and warm us up. Very confident I can just mash through this 10 interceptions thrown in a season line. And for the Rams, I'm also not going to get cutesy. You get a higher like rarity score, I think is what they call it, if you pick less common answers than the other people who have completed these quizzes. So I know I'm fumbling through this format for you guys just to try to explain what it's like. On at least this first one, I'm not going to mess around with that at all, I don't think. I think I'm just going to try to finish it. So for Rams, 10 plus interceptions thrown, I bet there's a bunch of ways I could go here. I don't know if Stafford has done it recently. Stafford's a pretty good quarterback. He probably did it. He throws a lot, but they've had a lot of success, generally speaking, as a team since Stafford took over. Much less success with his predecessor, good old Jared Goff. So I'm going to try to lock him in. I don't see Lions anywhere on this grid, so I know right away that I can't use Jared Goff anywhere else anyway. Just making sure I'm clicking on the right stuff. Let's see if our guy Jared Goff is... Oh, okay. Jared doesn't get us there. Should have known there's a lot of Jareds in the NFL history. Jared Goff, QB. Look at that. Look at that. He is indeed an answer. Well, as I'm flying all over the page here. Sorry about that. Everybody just got a little motion sickness. Jared Goff is 23.19% of people, I think that's of who got that cell right, picked Jared Goff. So cool. What's up? See, Adam joined in. Keela's here. We got Jedi. Jedi was the first one on. So shout out to Jedi. Felix in the chat. What's up, everybody? That's the playback chat, by the way. If you're on YouTube, I don't actually see that chat right now, so I apologize. But anyway, let's keep going here. Jared Goff is our first one down. Cowboys next up on the list here of quarterbacks I need with 10 interceptions thrown. Don't need to go. Again, I'm not trying to be too crazy here. Dak was drafted to the Cowboys. Wow, Dak, there it is. Dak Prescott, he's their current quarterback. Half of the people use Dak who got this right. That makes a lot of sense to me. If it's the current guy and he can't be used somewhere else, again, I'm not trying to get a high rarity score here. I'm just trying to finish. So we're going to use Dak. Now, Steelers. Steelers, again, Kenny Pickett has probably done it. I don't know. Did he start enough games last year? I can't remember if he's played a whole season. I don't know if this season counts either. So I'm not going to overcomplicate this. I'm going to go with the one, the only, Big Ben Roethlisberger. Obviously, he's thrown 10 picks in a season. That's just happened. He's had a lot of years as a Steelers quarterback. I knew that I would be able to get through this one, guys. I knew, by the way, 64% of people use Big Ben there. So I'm pretty chalky through here. Looks like somebody else on the Rams probably was a more common answer. I don't know who people would have thought of over Jared Goff, but that's irrelevant because we're done now with the 10 interceptions thrown. Now we've got a 2x3 cell. The Chargers and Bills become more important because we'll have to match each of those up with Rams, Cowboys, and Steelers. My head is spinning a little bit. If I am thinking here about Buffalo, I'm gonna stay over on that right side, kind of started on the top right. I like starting there, I think, because the Rams are in the NFC West with the Niners. I pay pretty good attention to them too. The Bills are a pretty well-known national level team. They get covered a lot in the national media. So I feel like this square should be pretty easy. Let's see. I mean, quarterbacks for the Rams recently, there's only been a few. I mean, Matt Stafford, Jared Goff for the last however many years. Before that, who even was their quarterback? No, nobody like standing out as like super obvious. Um, so quarterback probably a bust there unless I'm going deeper. I'm not going to start with that. Let's move on to other positions like running back. I mean, Todd Gurley comes to mind for the Rams. Obviously, didn't play for the Bills. The Bills, I mean, they do run through running backs pretty quickly, but I can't think of too much crossover here. But if I'm going to receiver, yeah, a name does come to mind, actually. Yeah, right? Because we have right now on the Rams, there's Puka and Cooper Cup. That's kind of their main duo right now. But before there was Puka, there was, I guess you could say, there's Brandon Cooks in there as well. There's another guy, Cooper Cup's running mate, I believe, before he broke out, who definitely came from Buffalo. I'm pretty confident. So I'm gonna say Robert Woods here. I don't know why I'm so cautious. I feel like that's like there's no danger there. Ooh, I didn't different colored background, you guys. I mean, there's like a gold little background. 10% of people used Robert Woods in this square. There must be a more common person than that. I don't know. That's how the board looked to me. Rams and Bills. I used Robert Woods. Should I stay in this Buffalo category or try to finish off the Rams? The Rams and Chargers are going to be tough, you guys. Chargers are not really nationally covered. At least historically, they're not. If it's not somebody who's currently on the Chargers, it's going to be tougher for me. The Bills, they do get so much coverage, and they always have, it feels like. I mean, they've been contenders for a long time on and off. And the Cowboys, I mean, it feels like I should be able to think of a Bill and a Cowboy. Actually, I don't even have to go anywhere else. I think probably a former teammate of Woods, same position group. This one, I'm not crazy, right? Because I think this guy has floated around to a couple of teams. Oops, spelled his name wrong. But I believe our guy, Short King, I think he's short. He looks short. He's a white slot receiver in the NFL, so he should be relatively short at least. I think Cole Beasley fits here. He does. 50% of people also used him. Not the cool background. That's okay. That must be like a rarity thing. I don't know if must not be 10% because Robert Woods was over 10% and he got a cool background. That's okay. I'm not going to overanalyze that part of the game. Again, rarity we don't care about here. I'm just trying to finish. Steelers and Bills. I do want to finish off these Bills now if I can. Steelers and Bills. Who stands out from the Steelers and Bills? Ooh. If I'm like quarterbacks, is Kenny Pickett. Hasn't been there that long. Obviously, a Big Ben. In between those guys, somebody had a year, right? Oh, it was Mitch Trubisky, who is on the Bills right now, I think, right? Isn't he the backup? Or vice versa? Am I getting that backwards? He's on both teams, right? He's been on both teams. I'm going to use one of my guesses here. Good old Mitchie. Poor guy. Got drafted so high. Did I spell his name wrong? Hold on. Am I even in the right square here? Oh, I did, I think. Because I can't type, you guys. Not a typist. Maybe it's Mitchell. I bet it's Mitchell. Mitchell Trubisky. That's our guy. Okay. I think I might have said the teams backwards, but since the Bears, I mean, he's been kind of floating around backup quarterback style. And now I think starting on the Steelers. So, hey, maybe a little career revival. I have 3 guesses left, y'all. 3 squares left. You only get 9 guesses to fill all 9 squares. So if I miss, I can't finish. Okay. The Chargers column, I knew was going to be the hardest here. The stat column, I knew I'd get. The Bills was like, okay, maybe. And this one feels like it's very unlikely, actually. So, if you guys have any no Google, nobody leak stuff, but I might start peeking at the chat here if I get stuck. I think my best chance, again, LA doesn't get as much national coverage, but the Rams are in the Niners division, so I know them okay. The Steelers are nationally covered, and the Cowboys are every year. So I should be able to back into this, I would think. Just who like went to the Chargers or came from the Chargers when I hear about acquisitions from these teams. Um, I know one guy already, right off the rip for the Rams. Wait, I always get Eric Weddle and Harrison Smith like mixed. Those are white safeties. White safeties in the modern game. It is Eric Weddle though, right? I think he also had some time on the Ravens. I have found in the little bit that I've done these, I've probably attempted 3 or 4 of these. I think it's like the usual suspects, the guys who like run across the league, right? Like a Ryan Fitzpatrick comes to mind. Like he's played on so many teams. You're just gonna try to memorize what teams he's been on, and he can be usable anywhere. But I don't know about these next two, honestly, guys. The Chargers, a Charger who was also a Cowboy who was also a Charger. That is tough. Instantly, something like D end kind of pops to mind here. Both teams have had good like defensive ends. Like I don't know why was Melvin Ingram ever a Cowboy or like Randy Gregory? Like I don't know. Anybody have anything for me here? Do we have some watchers still? Anybody trying to weigh in on this here? Can anybody, man, 2 guesses. Does anybody have a Ram who was a Cowboy? Not a Ram and a Cowboy. I'm sorry. A Charger and a Cowboy or a Charger and a Steeler? Because nothing is coming to mind. If I go deeper into my thought, I mean, it feels like players didn't move as much back in the day. Like they had a lot more like single team careers. Nobody like the Cowboys that I think of were a lot of Cowboys for life, or certainly not ones that ended up on the Chargers or anything like that. Same thing with the Chargers. The more I think about them, the more I'm like, who were some of the other like Eric Weddle type of guys who moved? I mean, you got like Antonio Gates, who was there forever. Phillip Rivers went to the Colts. He comes to mind when I think about it. I mean, I think like a guy like Kellen Winslow. I have no idea where he spent any other time in his career. I'm really stuck here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do the guess that I was thinking of here with Melvin Ingram. I don't think that's right. Is it Ingram? I guess I could just type in Melvin. There he is. Melvin Ingram. We're gonna go with it. I feel like it's wrong. It is wrong. So I'm not gonna finish this grid. That's okay. I feel like I get stalled out at this point a lot. And man, do I double down here and try to think of one? Or do I go Steelers and Chargers? I mean, who played for both of those teams? That's super gross. I can think of. Oh wait, did they have no? No, that won't work. Went to DBs for a second, thinking like Eric Weddle type of guys. I can't think of one who spent time on both rosters though. So we're not looking great there. Casey, to my daughter concert. I have a great rest of the show. Oh, off to my daughter's concert. Hey, Jedi, thanks for being here. You're the real deal champion. All right, Jedi's out, you guys. Nobody weighing in the chat. This is stumping other people too. Okay, I want off of this grid. I want a new grid. So let's guess somebody. Damn, I can't even think of somebody to guess who was just a guy who moved around a lot, who played on either team. Let's just throw him out there. I mean, I think like an Antonio Brown, he definitely didn't go to the Chargers though. Nobody goes to the Chargers because that team, nobody cares. Let's see, like Doug Flutie was right a Charger. Am I crazy? Doug Flutie was a Charger, right? And Drew Brees was a Charger. He went to the Saints though, nowhere else. I mean, I could throw out a Flutie guess. I have no idea where Flutie went. I'm gonna throw it in the Steelers. I don't think he did. I just want off of this stupid grid. I'm conceding it. I'm defeat. Hey, 28-42. I got one of the gold squares, you guys. So I don't know if that's good or not. If you guys play this game more than me, let me know. Um, I'm gonna stay on this game for one more grid. Um, so I got 7 out of 9. I feel like that's respectable. But now I'm going to do something different. That was Immaculate Grid 159, by the way. We're December 6th, 2023. If you're looking for that one, it's 159. I'm gonna go back in time now, and I'll just kind of talk through this while I do. But I'm going to keep going backwards until I find a 49ers one. Hopefully, we don't have to go too far. You can see some of the stuff there, like one team only in career. Like I was only thinking around that kind of thing the last one. So we got, wait, what one was this one? I think I got to go to 156 now. 156. Hey, look at that. We only had to go back like a couple. All right. This is the other grid we're going to attempt, you guys. So we got Niners. I'll kind of jot this down here for my scratch paper. Niners, Bills again. 1,000 yards receiving in a single season, since 1999. By the way, so no like super old heads. But that's okay. I should be able to get all the teams. I don't think it matters. I think I could do all the teams in the NFL like that. And then on the left side, that we have to pair the Niners, Bills, and 1,000-yard receivers. We have to pair them with Bears, Texans, and Chargers. Again, what the hell? I can't escape the Chargers. So we got Bears, Texans, and I mean, you could never read what I just wrote down, but all right. So we got our grid here. I mean, okay. So my immediate inclination is to go to the Niners instead of the stat this time because I think that's actually easier. Or no. Let's stick with the stat and then just try to make sure we're not using somebody who could be used somewhere else. So I don't know about you guys. I'm pretty confident this guy didn't play on any other team on this grid, so I should be able to use him freely. But when I think of the Bears and a 1,000-yard receiver, the first name that comes to mind is one Brandon Marshall. Tricky here. There are two Brandon Marshalls. One's an inside linebacker. One is a receiver. We want the receiver. Brandon Marshall, 28% of people also use Brandon Marshall in this square. Hey, snaps for your boy. Snaps for your boy here. We're doing it. We're really getting to it. By the way, guys, stick around. We'll do all of our giveaway spins at the end of the show. So we'll probably do like 4 of those, I think. That's probably about the normal number. All right. So Brandon Marshall, we have Brandon Marshall on the square. I think Texans receiver is the next logical place to go here. If I am thinking of, I mean, there's a couple ways you could go here, and I don't want to psych myself out. This one I have more confidence I can complete, so maybe I'll try to reach for rarity score, but how stupid would I feel if I was trying to get cutesy and I messed it up? So 2 guys come to mind immediately. I think both easily qualify. DeAndre Hopkins definitely qualifies as a 1,000-yard receiver from the Texans. I think he'll be the most common answer because he's probably the one who's done it most recently, or at least like there might have been somebody who's done it since. I don't think so. There might be, but he's the one who's most well known who's done it most recently, I think. But I'm going to go another layer deeper to Andre Johnson, who was basically the D-Hop before D-Hop. Played for a long time. If you don't know him, excellent receiver. He actually was on the Texans while Kyle Shanahan was the OC. So it's like that stays pretty like in my brain. I hear a lot of stuff tangentially around the Niners. So if they have any connection to anybody in the coaching staff, any Niner, it's going to help me a lot. So this isn't a bad grid for me to have a shot at here. Okay, 1,000-yard receiver then for the Chargers. Okay, again, a few guys come to mind right away. Keenan Allen has definitely done it. There's no way he hasn't done it. But if I am trying to not be too cute here, but still just get somebody who's probably not the number one answer, try to get a little bit better rarity, maybe we throw in a little tight end magic. Antonio Gates, I'm absolutely positive he had a 1,000-yard season, and he did. 17% of people used Antonio Gates for this slot. Let's keep this going. Looking at the chat, Chris Vant, says Johnson for the Texans. I'm all over that. Chris Vant. Thank you for giving me a suggestion, though. I like it. I will check back on the chat if I get stuck. I'm feeling okay about this one, though. I mean, there's a couple coming up that I'm not going to be a super huge fan of. All right, I'm looking at the Niners column now. I think that's the best way to tackle this. If we're trying to finish this whole grid, I should try to use my Niner knowledge as much as possible here. So one person comes out. I'm not looking at it in any particular order. It's just however they strike me now in the Niners column. The Chargers are super frustrating for me. Obviously, they have been the whole time. Somebody comes to mind right away when I think of a Niner and a Charger. I don't know I don't know what he's doing right now, but Jason Verrett is our guy here. I'm pretty sure he didn't play for any of these other teams anyway, so I didn't lose any chances to play him anywhere. We're going to use our guy, Jason JV, as we call him. 48% of people used him, so there's probably not a better answer than him. I mean, that would be crazy, right? There's no way there's a better answer. Okay, when I think of a Niner and Bears and Texans. Texans, there should be a few. Again, Kyle Shanahan was the OC on the Texans. So there should be quite a few guys. Actually, hold on. There is a guy who comes to mind. If I'm not mistaken, I think he played for the Niners, the Texans, and the Bears. So I think I could use him in either of these two spots here. And I'm thinking of a guy very similar to like a Ryan Fitzpatrick, who also I think might work. Maybe. Did he play for one of these teams? I think he did. But anyway, I'm thinking of Brian Hoyer, right? He's journeyman quarterback to the core. He came into the league as a journeyman quarterback, I think. I think he played for both these teams. I think he had a short stint in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. Almost positive he was on the Texans. I think that's where he got the scheme familiarity with Kyle Shanahan to where he became the guy that Kyle brought in. He's like this Matt Schaub type of guy, not a real starter, but Shanahan makes people look good. So I think I could use him in either one. So the kind of comes down to like who can I fill, which slot can I fill without using Hoyer first? And the Bears seems tough, man. I mean, that's a long, fairly upstanding franchise, old, fairly upstanding. And then we got the Texans, who the Texans are a new team, right? I mean, did they take over a franchise? Because the Oilers became the Titans. Did the Texans come from somewhere? Or they were just an expansion team, right? So that's newer. Oh, but D'Amico Ryans is the head coach here. So there should be crossover right now from the Niners and Texans, which there obviously is. I know that there is. Yep, on the defense, particularly as soon as I said D'Amico Ryans. He was the DC in San Francisco. He's now the head coach in Houston. I know exactly where I'm going. He was a leader on the Niners. We did not re-sign him because he followed D'Amico to the Texans. I'm 100% sure about this one. Most people use this answer, I'm sure. 41% of people use Jimmy Ward in this Niners-Texans sell. So I'm almost done with my Niners. It's Niners and Bears, which nobody else has come to mind. I'm not going to say my guy, Brian Hoyer. Shanahan's guy, Brian Hoyer in here. And I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure about this. Confident enough to just throw it out there. Oh, 7.38%. That doesn't give me like a little gold background. We get a white background for that. That's some. Come on, Immaculate Grid. You know what? Actually, I'll respect it. It's Brian Hoyer. So maybe it's not even based around the rarity. Maybe it's like they were a Pro Bowler or something. I don't know. Brandon Marshall. I don't know. And Andre. No, it's not pro. I don't know. Okay, so what do we have left? We have Bills and Bears. Bills and Bears. Bills and Bears. Ooh. I think there's a guy. So for those who don't know, I have another show called Overtime Operators where we talk about basically sports betting, but largely just how to make money in sports that John and I both do with Daps from Dap Sports. Check us out on YouTube or on podcast apps. Overtime Operators, spelled exactly how you think, except there's an O in operators instead of an E at the end, in case you're not the best speller. But there was a guy that I used. I'm not going to mm, I'm not gonna give away too much about that show, but there was an answer to a trivia game we played today that I had set up. So I was just recently looking at this guy's football reference page, and I am pretty sure that Marquise Goodwin, track and field stud, long jumper, Olympic long jumper. Whoa! Okay, we got a gold background on that one. This is our best answer so far. Marquise Goodwin. Nobody used this guy in this cell. Less than 1.5% of people, but Casey did. So hey, we're still intact here. We're 7 for 7. We need to fill 2 more slots. Need Bills, and Chargers. I love it when it just comes together, right? I don't know how many players would even qualify for this. But there's a guy I know pretty well, a quarterback I like a lot. He got completely shafted. Best thing that ever happened to Justin Herbert was this guy getting some kind of shot like 10 minutes before the first game of the year in Herbert's rookie season. He got a shot. It penetrated his lung. He was unable to play for that game, and I think maybe a couple of games. And then by the time he was ready to go, they were like, nah, Herbert's the guy. He came from Buffalo. He was definitely, I would say, he qualified as the franchise quarterback in Buffalo, but they never really had a ton of success under him. He played actually with Marquise Goodwin, so there's a very thin time frame, obviously, where I know about the Bills who have been on other teams. This Tyrod Taylor, 60% of people used him in this square. That's our chalkiest answer so far on this one. But hey, guys, we have 1 to go. We're 8 of 8 so far with 1 left. And honestly, a lot of these rarity scores are okay. I mean, this bottom left corner not looking awesome for the rarity. But I mean, Marquise Goodwin, I think, brings us a hell of a ways. The last square, I've been thinking around this because I think this guy is kind of like the cheat code, if there is one. Like there's this guy who comes to mind for this game, like I said, and you want to go through the usual suspects. He's even the guy I mentioned for usual suspects. And I'm pretty sure he spent time on both of these teams. I'm pretty sure. I've definitely tried this guy in some spots and it hasn't worked. But when I don't know where else to go, this is probably the Hail Mary I want to throw up. I'm fairly confident this would be the first NFL grid I've ever completed. I've never cherry picked and found one that had specifically Niners on it, so that helps a lot. But I think Ryan Fitzpatrick will seal the deal here. Let's go. 1795 score. We had 1 little silver tile and 1 little gold tile. The significance of that, I don't know. Oh, Brian Hoyer's background wasn't white. It was silver. I see. So he's like 1 rarity away from gold. Interesting. I could have done this on the other one. I forgot that you can hit open stats, and we can see here. Does it show like what the average score is? Rarity rating 268. I don't know what any of this means, guys. Games completed 17. I don't know what any of this means, but it does look like percent of players that got each cell right. So the hardest square on here was the JV square by a lot. It's the only one that 50% of people could not get. Only like less than a third of people got that. That one was easy for me though because I'm a Niners fan. So I got kind of like the one that holds most people up. That's awesome. I like that. See, all NFL fans like this. The stat categories are easy because it's easy to remember stats compared to like team history of random ass players who they don't even supply you with. You have to think of them. That's tough. Hey guys, my first grid finished. It's pretty cool. Robbie Gold would have worked for. That was Niners and Bears. Jimmy Ward was the chalk answer there. JV is the chalk answer. I took that. Tyrod Taylor, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Oh, Mitch Trubisky here. I used him on the last grid and didn't even think about him here. That would have been way duh. How did I get? I used Marquise Goodwin. I used Marquise Goodwin instead of Mitchell Trubisky. I mean, that's wild, but he was fresh on the brain from another game. I think I would have gotten Mitch then. I mean, since I got him in the other one. Brandon Marshall is the most common one there. And I was right about these two guys. D-Hop and Keenan Allen were the most common answers for this, and I steered out of them on purpose to guys that I was still confident in. So I don't know what any of this means. 1795, 268. Anybody else who plays this game, let me know how I did. But guys, okay, so if you don't watch this show very often, you probably don't know this, but we do our football show and our basketball show. We separate them into two different episodes on audio. So for anybody who's watching the actual stream, I'm going to do a little fake out. All right. I'm going to do a little fake out type of thing. And yeah, and you might, I mean, maybe this will just be one episode anyway. I don't know. But I'm going to do a soft little closing anyway. Stick around. Again, we're doing our spins here. We're halfway through. We're going to do our spins in just a little bit longer here. Head over to Playback if you want to qualify to win some sports memorabilia from DAPS Sports. They're our partner in our prize delivery. But this is going to conclude the football portion of the show. I'm going to switch over to basketball, do about a similar amount of time on basketball. Then we'll do all the fun giveaway stuff. So checking in on the chat. Chris Vance says Flutie for Bills and Chargers. I did throw Flutie out there on the other one. Bills and Chargers. Yeah, he was on both, right? Was that was a sell, right? Bills Chargers. I used Tyrod Taylor. Flutie would have been a better answer. Flutie would have, 60% of people use Tyrod Taylor. So Flutie, damn. Chris, hey, that's good stuff. Good stuff, Chris. You should check this out after this game. You might be good at this. I think you had a couple of answers. So yeah. Love this, guys. Okay, so thank you for again, fake out to everybody else who's watching live right now. But this is gonna do it for our football episode today. Like, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. I'm Niners Fan Man on YouTube. Find me there, follow me, subscribe to me, whatever. I'll post content one day, maybe not. I don't know. This has been Triple Cross Football. We'll catch you later. Bye. Okay. We're still here because now it's time for Triple Cross basketball. So I'm going to, again, pretend that I'm talking to a whole new group of people. Nobody leave. And we're just going to roll right through this. Hello and welcome to Triple Cross basketball. I'm your host today, Casey at Niners Fan Man. You can follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/@NinersFanMan. Today we've got some basketball content that we're going to do. We are going to first, I got to get warmed up on this. I'm the football guy at Triple Cross. So I got to get warmed up first. And I'm going to do a couple of, I'm going to do one quiz and then one little like fun exercise from the NBA. The first quiz, it's just going to be a little warm up for me just to get my head into basketball. I'm going to try to name all of the NBA teams. I should be able to do it. I know all the NBA teams. It's a matter of, can I recall them in the amount of time that I'm supposed to? And that looks a little something like this. So I get 6 minutes. 6 minutes is fast, y'all. 6 minutes is fast for 30 teams. 6 minutes feels fast, especially when it's not your main sport. I might look at the chat for help when I get stuck on this one because I will want to pass and I'll just kind of take half an L if I have to look there. I'll be honest. I'll tell you guys if I'm looking. By the way, I know nothing about basketball is not the same as football to my knowledge. We go east and west there. I don't know anything about Atlantic, Central, Southeast, Northwest, Pacific, Southwest. I don't know anything about any of that. And as far as I know about the east and west part, it's already pretty fast and loose with who's where. So, I'm going to take a little sip of this and then we're going to get right into this. And who knows if I can do this. I'm not even that good of a typist, you guys. So, but without further ado, getting into this content. Oh, by the way, this is just warm up for the meat and potatoes, which is going to be me building my NBA dream team, all-time players. Basically, it's fantasy auction draft style. So every player will have a certain amount that just they cost, and I get a certain budget, and I have to build my team around that budget. That'll be fun when we get to that. But first, to get my brain ready for basketball, let me try to get a little more of this into the screen. There we go, you guys. There you go, guys. Sorry about the ads that are going to pop up because that's what happens on these quiz sites. But anyway, We're gonna play this quiz and get going here. All right, let's start. First of all, let's see if okay, I can just do team names, which is great. So let's go Warriors. I mean, I'm just gonna start like rattling stuff off, but in no particular order, which is not really the way you want to do this type of stuff. Anytime I've ever done good at this, it's pretty systematic. So I have no idea who I'm going to be adding, but I've added the Warriors so far, the Hawks, the Magic, the Grizzlies, the Bulls. Man, I better not mess around too long and talk too much, or I'm going to miss out on this. Let's go with like the Celtics. Let's go with the Clippers. Let's see. Who do I have? I almost had the Supersonics, y'all. Okay. Thunder. Okay. I gotta kind of recenter my brain. Let's see. Heat. Let's go Pacers, Pistons. Let's go Suns. Let's go with. I mean, there's just so many. The Lakers. It's like almost there's too many to draw from, and there's like It's hard to remember which ones I haven't said kind of yet. Man, this is embarrassing already that I'm even slowing down. Oh no. Oh no. Confidence is going away fast, y'all. Going away fast. Okay, let's see. Casey, focus. I'm also streaming. This is difficult, y'all. Okay. I can do better than this. I can do okay. I mean, John would kill me if I didn't say the Jazz, right? If I didn't say the Jazz, okay, we got let's see the Rockets. We got all kinds of teams, my man. All right. Okay, we're at 15 out of 30. We've made it halfway. That's pretty good. We have more than half the time left too. Everybody's like, you're a complete pretender that you do like sports content. This should be easy. Football, I'd be done. Let's make no mistake about this. Okay, we got like the Mavericks. We got who else did I just put in? The Hornets. Okay. Wizards. It feels like I'm getting a lot of like shitty teams out of the way here, and I feel like there should be a lot more. Oh, speaking of good teams, the Nuggets are a good team. Who else are good teams before I try to get too deep here again? Ooh, we're almost at halfway. I think in the last like 2 minutes, maybe that might be too much. Maybe the last 60 seconds, I'll look at the chat because I don't think I'm finishing this without the chat. Okay, guys, let's use our brains. I keep wanting to list off the teams that are there. Oh, Pels, let's go. Okay, let's see who else we got here. Who else we got? Trailblazers. That's a pretty close team. Oop. A little touch and go with the typing. That's okay. Oh, it's two separate words. I always thought Trailblazer is one word. I guess I did know that. I don't know. This is embarrassing, you guys. I should know this much faster. Let's see. Who else do we have? I'm aware there are plenty more teams that I should get really easily. 2.5 minutes left on the clock. I mean, maybe I can finish this. I have this right column almost all the way done. I'm missing one team from the Southwest. I mean, maybe that helps. Does it help? Oh, the Kings, maybe. Yeah. They're in the Southwest, right? Or watch them just pop up somewhere. Yeah, they popped up in the Pacific. Okay. That's pretty Southwest to me, you guys. It's pretty far south, pretty far west. So again, I have no idea with any of these divisions who's where. But that's okay. That's just okay. We're missing a lot in the Atlantic, which since Boston's in there, it seems like it's like the Northeast. So who's in the Northeast that I'm forgetting? Man, I'm so not like a Northeast guy anyway. Man. Okay. Less than 2 minutes left. I'm not going to bail out to the chat yet. Let's see. Oh, okay. There's New York teams. So Knicks, Nets. Boom. That's how I have to think about this. Big cities. Philadelphia 76ers. What am I'm an idiot. I should have just been doing this the whole time. Big cities. Okay. One more big city in the Northeast. Boston, Brooklyn, New York, Philadelphia. I guess Brooklyn is also. Man, what other team is in the Northeast that I'm missing? Like everybody else is like, duh, dude. It's so obvious. 15 minutes or 15 seconds left before I look at the chat for some help. Maybe got some missing in the Central and one in the Northwest. That feels like I should be able to get the Northwest team. Who's in the Northwest that I'm missing? And one in the Southwest still. Yikes. So we're missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams. I mean, I already feel okay about this. We're in the last minute here. I'm going to bail out. Say I accept defeat if this was just me. Let's see if the chat can help me. Guys in the chat, girls in the chat, whoever's in the chat, let me know. Who am I missing? Who am I missing here? Who am I missing? 30 seconds left. Oh man, we're at a huge point here where I'm just totally blocked. Who am I missing? There's so many teams, guys. There's so many teams. Toronto, yeah, okay. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. The Raptors, perfect. That's the Atlantic. I was thinking U.S. Atlantic. That was up on that one so long. Who else are we missing here? Charlotte already got on there. 10 seconds. Man, we're gonna fall 4 short. It looks like we're gonna fall. Oh, Felix with the Cavaliers got it in last minute. You guys helped me get 2 more. Damn, y'all. Okay, get out of here. You didn't pay for any sponsorship. I got 90. Average score is 84. Yes. So let's see how many. There's 30. So that means roughly each one is worth like about 3. So without your guys' help, I would have been probably exactly average. Probably everybody or the average score. I'm exactly average as far as naming NBA teams. And that feels like a win for me, you guys. Feels like a win. You guys helped me get to 90%. So much appreciated. We are above average today. Yeah. All right. A win is a win. A win is a win. Okay, my brain, I don't know if that was a great warm-up. It's more like my brain is like on fire now, like not in a good way, like not like I'm like, yeah, I'm on fire. It's more like I am like my brain is on fire, burning down. Okay. So that was just my warm-up. I've got to share this over. Share this one over instead now. This one's kind of the main event of our basketball portion here. So I explained this already a little bit, but we'll do it one more time here. This is my draft board. I have to pick a starting 5 all time. I don't think every player is available of all time. I think it's already just a certain amount of players loaded up. I looked into this just enough to know kind of what I was dealing with format wise. I get a starting 5 and 3 reserves. Down here is where I select the players. It has like player list with like bragging rights on here already and the price. Also, I noticed like it's when I go here, I have like the price is laid out here. I can just scroll through them. So for point guards, like I have the options from Magic Johnson to Jeremy Lin. So it's going to get wild in here. Team name. If the chat wants to help me think of a team name, I mean, for now, I'll just go with the placeholder of Casey's dream team. Casey's dream team, y'all. I have a theory kind of for how I want to build this. Don't know how it's going to play out, but I have an idea of where I'm going to kind of start building this thing. So are we ready to get into this? I think we are. Let's do this. I'm just going to kind of check out who is where here. I mean, you guys know me. I'm going to read off some of the tiers here. At point guard, we have quite a few options. I mean, at every position, we have quite a few options. So that was a total nothing burger. I'll try to avoid saying too many nothing burgers. But the price matters here, right? So we're kind of looking at price tiers. There's only one point guard who is a cut above the rest of them. I probably agree. Probably the best point guard on this list, right? You could make arguments like who played what position. We're not going to do that here. We're going to play the game. $1,200 for Magic Johnson is as expensive as we want to get. Or expensive as we can get. Then same thing at the next tier. Steph Curry, all on his own at 1,100. Then we got 3 guys at 1,000. Oscar Robertson, Steve Nash, Derrick Rose, all cost the same. Bunch of guys at 900. We got Isaiah Thomas, Jason Kidd, John Stockton, Penny Hardaway, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, Tony Parker, Kyrie Irving, and Gary Payton. Ooh, the glove would fit. But yeah, and I'm not going to keep reading all these guys down below. If you don't cost $900, I mean, I'm not reading your name unless I'm picking you. That's my philosophy here. Shooting guard. Can I just? Nope. I got to go down here. Okay. Okay. So this is where I feel like I'm pretty sure I want to start the game. A lot of guys. I mean, shooting guard is such a fun position anyway, but I think we're going to start with this man right here. Michael Jordan. In my mind, he's always going to be the GOAT, or at least he is the GOAT right now. And certainly for this kind of exercise, like if I'm building a team around somebody, around elite talent, I think that's how I'm going to have to do this. I don't know how stiff the budget's going to actually feel. 6,400 is pretty tight. Looking at some of these scores, I mean, MJ alone costs 1,300, but I got to imagine that my team is going to be elitist and then filled with some role players that I think could bring something for the price that they cost. So I'm going to just slam MJ into the shooting guard spot right now and just say that's the flag I'm planting. I'm going to try to build around that. Small forward, we got LeBron. I didn't read off any of the other thing. MJ cost us 1,300. Kobe would be another awesome selection. He's 1,200. Then D Wade is 1,100. Those guys all in a tier of their own. Then at 1,000, we got Jerry West, Tracy McGrady, AI, Allen Iverson, James Harden, and Clyde Drexler. A lot of great names here, right? Top of 900, we got Ray Allen, Klay Thompson, Vince Carter, Reggie Miller's down at 800. That's a name I love to see there. But again, I feel like if there's any place where I'm going to plant the flag, it's going to be at shooting guard, and it's going to be Michael Jordan, because that's just what we do. That's what we do here. Somebody else might do it this way. At small forward, you got LeBron James, who's 1,300. Then you got guys like Larry Bird, KD, Kevin Durant, who both cost 1,100. So LeBron James is a full 200 above anybody else at this position. That's tough. You got guys like Pippen down at 1,000, Kawhi Leonard at 1,000, Dr. J there topping off the 900s. You like to see that. Power forward, what are we dealing with? We got Tim Duncan at 1,200. We got Giannis at 1,100. Karl Malone at 1,100. Charles Barkley at 1,000. Kevin Garnett, 1,000. Dirk Nowitzki, 1,000. Man. And at center, Kareem, Wilt, Shaq. Center feels like there's going to be guys for days. I mean, there's freaks at center. They do seem more. I mean, there's a lot of 12,000, a lot of 1,200s. Did I say 12,000 earlier? They're 1,200 here. Our budget, again, is 6,400 total. I've already spent 13 on Mike. I have 5,100 left. Yikes. That already feels pretty tight. Then we have the 3 reserves. You know what I think I'm going to do? Oh, the reserve spots just combine all the positions so I can see. Okay. So 600 is as low as we can go for point guards. Shooting guards, same. We can only go down to 600. Small forwards, 600. Andrew Wiggins is at the bottom there. Okay. Are they all just going to bottom out at 600? Because I'm trying to wrap my head around. Yep. 600 for power forwards and 600 for centers. So, we got Wemby here for 700. Oh, he couldn't be 600, of course. Okay. So here's what I think I should do then. Even though these won't be the guys I'm going to plug in here, I think I'm going to just plug in some 600 guys so that I know what salary I have to work with. Now, you know what? I think I'm too tempted by Wemby. I'm going to throw in a 700 there. That way I know I can come down another 100 if I want, but I'm building in a little 100 buffer for myself. Look at this, you guys. We're going about this too smart. Okay. So now I've spent half my money. Holy shit. That really puts it into perspective what Michael Jordan cost us. With Michael Jordan and 3 of the cheapest reserves that we could pick, we spent 3,200 out of 6,400. So we have 3,200 left. If I'm just looking at this and without having memorized the prices I read off, there's one other guy I just want to go out and get. There's one other guy. I think they'd be a dynamic duo. They'd be fun to watch. Obviously somebody who knows more about basketball and chemistry and formations, things like that, types of offensive strategies. They would be able to really master this and put together some guys who work well together. And maybe I'll fall into that just because of the nature of the guys I kind of like at certain positions. I hope I do back into that. Steph Curry and MJ being on the same team, because I am going to put Steph in at point guard for 1,100. That's a big amount of money to spend there. I'm going to see if I can make this work, though, because I would love to have Steph Curry and Michael Jordan on my NBA dream team. It's my team. I can do what I want to, so back off. I think Steph and Jordan are elite scorers, unstoppable together. MJ a little bit more size than Curry. They both kind of like Steph as a point guard is really more of a shooting guard. MJ as a shooting guard is really more of like a whatever he wants to be, small forward, maybe. You might argue. So I like there's already a little bit of like, yeah. There's some range in their game here. Maybe you would argue Steph isn't the best on ball guy, but you know what? F it. Like, just leave me alone. How about that? Leave me alone. And okay. Okay. So we're getting into this now though. Like this is no joke now. So who do we go to now? Okay. I have a strategy. There is one guy that comes to mind. I can already tell I'm going to lean heavily into like either current players or guys who played in like this like 90s era. Because there's one guy who I'm just going to look through the list actually, see if this guy's even on here before. Oh, where are you? Oh, where are you? Oh, I don't see him. Oh no. Maybe he's not a small forward. This guy has to be on here. I mean, I know he's not incredible, but oh, hey, look at that. Oh, he's at the very bottom. I'm going to put him in at place because I think we got to make up some of this. Yeah, we have 1,500 left. We still have to fill 2 starting positions. So I am going to throw Robert Horry into the small forward spot for 600. That feels like a steal. Robert Horry. I mean, does it show here? 7 rings. It has their bragging rights up here when we put them up there. So we've started this team off strong. I mean, MJ, I'm not going to read all of those things, but he's 14-time All-Star, 6 rings himself. Robert Horry has more rings than that, 7 rings. He doesn't do it all himself. He can fill up a stat sheet pretty well, though. A pretty good defender, great clutch shooter. I know that's like his big shots, right? Big shot, like that's his nickname. So he's a clutch shooter. I think with Steph and MJ drawn as much attention as they do, or he's going to be a great other guy to add to this who's maybe a little bit less scary to other teams. But hey, oh, by the way, I read this off before I went live. So you guys don't have this context exactly, but in this exercise, I'll read off the rules really quick. So you guys kind of know what I've been like, why I'm picking the way I am. So in this exercise, the goal is to draft your ultimate NBA team using a limited amount of budget available. Each player has a price tag. So you will have to think carefully about how you choose your players, which we've done already. We're killing that. The idea is to build the best team that you can. Think about how players would play together and complement each other. That's why I brought that up. Obviously, sometimes you think of like just fill out the best 5, like the best person at each position of all time. We're not doing that. We're trying to make them cohesive if we can. All players are considered in their prime and healthy. So that is important to know too. Like if it's somebody who isn't as obviously as good, maybe it's like, oh, okay, but at their very best, they're very good. We have 6,400 to spend. We know that players range from, okay, could have read that part, 600 to 1,300. Average price of your players will likely be 800. Okay, well, we started off with 2 guys, way more than that. There are 8 slots on your team. Yep, the 5 starters and 3 reserves. You must have at least one of each position. Reserves can be any position. Imagine your team will be in a best of 7 series against, well, another team. Optional, give your team a team name. Yes, bonus credit for that one. We did all that stuff. Okay, so now you guys kind of know the game. Back to the draft here. Or maybe players list. Can we get some ideas? Nah, this is too scattered. And we're not going to be able to afford any of these guys up here. It did say like 800 would be our average, but this is still like across all the positions. I don't like the way that's laid out. I want to just pick from my spots here. Do I even go power forward next, or should I jump right down to big man and kind of have a strategy here? We have 1,500 to spend, so that's 750 on average. There are no 50s, so we got 700 and 800 maybe. Or we could do 2 800s and drop this Wemby 700 down to 600. So we know 800 is about the most we can spend here. Maybe 900 if we dropped this and we did another Robert Ory in the starting lineup for 600, but I don't know if I want two 600 guys in the starting lineup. So we're not going to look above that because I'm just going to try to make the reality happen where we have Steph and MJ and not move off of that. I know it's possible now. Let's see what the team would look like. At power forward for 600s, I mean, starting from the bottom, like Boozer, Martin, I don't even know that dude, Millsap, Walker, Horace Grant, anyone. None of these names sound appealing to me. Zion's here. I mean, I feel like we could do worse. Like, we could do worse. Again, we have to assume he's healthy and at the prime of his career, which, when he's healthy, he looks good, right? So Zion's an option. And they have him here as power forward. I think you get a little bit of stretch. Like, he's just another big, right? Like, power forward / center. Maybe if we had like a less than awesome center, he kind of helps us with that. We'll consider that. So far, I think I like him the most. Oh shit, I kind of just went crazy here. Larry Johnson. Okay, starting in the 700s now. Rasheed Wallace, Jermaine O'Neal, LaMarcus Aldridge. I mean, guys who are good basketball players, no doubt about it. But are they on my dream team? Chris Bosh, Amari Stoudemire. I mean, I like a lot of these guys, but over everybody else, Sean Kemp. This is one of those 90s names. McGinnis. I don't know this dude either, if I'm being honest. Dave DeBoucher. That sounds French or Canadian or French Canadian. Larry Nance and rounds out Kristaps Porzingis. Do we have any? I mean, these guys aren't really on the team yet, but we don't have a European guy yet. Let's, again, with that clause that we get them at their best, Kristaps. Who do you guys think is smarter, Kristaps or Zion? I think Kristaps is maybe more helpful to what we need here. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know a ton difference about those games, but I know Kristaps is another one of those guys. He can score from all over. He's still a pretty big body guy, and when he's healthy, I think he's a good player mostly. I'm gonna throw Kristaps in. Let's get some European representation into this exercise, y'all. I do like that we have. So actually, we know that we have Wemby here at 700 if we want to use him here. So I could do that. Our remaining money is 800 though. So given these four, which I don't hate, I think I could land with these four just fine. I love the way this looks. I would personally, with these guys though, a lot of scoring, some decent defense. I think Kristaps has some good defense for sure. Ori, I think, has some good defense. Jordan, very good defender, DPOY winner and stuff. Steph Curry, people are up and down about his defense. Certainly not like the most elite defender. But I think we're okay. We got a lot of scoring. This is a fun team. Let's look at the centers. We can spend 800 if we want here. So I like that we saved some on Kristaps. Okay, Dikembe Mutombo right at the top. I mean, swap master, Dikembe, baby. Ben Wallace, Rudy Gobert. I mean, Mutombo, Gobert. I mean, I think we can get some of that big defense that we want here. Where I think Kristaps, even though I think he's a good defender, feels like more of a scoring threat as a big compared to some of the other ones, especially on the outside. And we got like DeMarcus Cousins down here. I don't know that Cat Towns, Wemby's in here, Brooke Lopez. I mean, Vlade Divac, Manute Bol, Andre Drummond. Hey, I'm a Drummond guy. I like Drummond. You can tell just by the names I choose to read off, you can tell what I like in my big men. Like, I like my bigs to be bigs, and I like my smalls to be smalls. And man, in the name of like defense, there is one name that stands out above all the others here that I've read off in this category. And maybe he's not even the best representative of this possible out of this group. But according to my knowledge, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time looking stuff up, I know that Rudy Gobert is a DPOY winner. Okay, so lineup accepted. We're not done, though. Okay, we can still change stuff. Oh, no, this works out great. Rudy as the starting center, right? Because we got plenty of scoring power going on here anyway. I mean, literally 1 through 4 can score. Rudy doesn't need to do that. We don't need Rudy. What are you doing with the ball? Pass the ball, bro. You don't get the ball. You rebound the ball and you pass the ball away. You swap the ball and then you pass the ball away. Get it to Steph. Get it to Mike. But I think Rudy fits pretty well. This becomes a pretty complete starting five. And we're out of budget, but we have Wemby too. So like I love that at center. I would love to have spent more. I like my bigs to be good bigs. But we have Rudy and then Wemby coming off the bench to kind of mix in as actually more of a scorer. So maybe that gives us some play here. I think given that I only have 3 reserves, I'd want some versatility. Wemby certainly gives us that, right? Like Wemby is a center, sure, but he doesn't just play just like a center. So that's what I'm going to value, I think, in these other 2 picks. We're going to get rid of Kyle Lowry here and Andrew Bynum, who I don't know, if I'm being honest. Call me a fake fan. That's fine. I'm going to look for some more versatility in the guys who cost the bare minimum at 600. So we'll look quickly at the 600s of everything. I'm not going to name everybody. Ooh, Steve Francis, point guard. He was one of my guys on my NBA street squad. He was my guard. Love me some Steve Francis. Don't know if he represents a ton of versatility. Feels like a pretty pure point guard, if I remember correctly. Stephon Marbury, same kind of thing. Drew Holiday being 600 and having elite defense is awesome. Followed up right by Ben Simmons, who I was just going to say, the only thing with Drew is, sure, amazing defense. I don't know if he's the most versatile. Maybe I don't know enough about his game. I'm excited by the opportunity to have him. But honestly, man, Kemba Walker, Trae Young at 600. I mean, I don't want Trae Young on my dream team just by principle. Isaiah Thomas, Jeremy Lin, Kenny Smith round out the point guards. Honestly, here, you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but Ben Simmons stands out, man. Ben Simmons being technically labeled a point guard, he's like a point forward. Like he is huge. Isn't he like 6'8"? The fact that I could get him, technically he kind of helps out. He kind of helps like 1 through 5. Like he could kind of fill in anywhere. If I only have 3 reserves, I'm going to throw Ben Simmons in as one right now. Ben Simmons and Wemby. That gives us quite a bit of size, even though technically Simmons is listed as a point guard here. I think now I'm looking for more of like a versatility is going to be nice, but I'm looking for more like a small forward shooting guard type, probably a little bit more of like a bucket getter, maybe a little bit more of a small guy. So I'm not going to look at the centers. I already kind of looked at the 600s there. I looked at the 600s for the power forwards. Let's pick up at the small forwards here. Tony Kukoc. Robert Horry, we already picked. So picking a guy above Horry at the same position would feel weird. In the 600s, there's not that many options. Granger, Lewis, Sprewell. That's at least a name I know. I don't know his game all that well. I think he was a good scorer. So I guess Sprewell could work, but I doubt he makes it. There's got to be a better name here. Schrempf, Odom, Dandridge, Prince, Margerley. I don't know him. I know some of these guys in here. Not super familiar with a lot of them. Lamar Odom, Candy Addict, dated a Kardashian. Can't remember which one. Doesn't matter. Irrelevant to this exercise. Let's move to the shooting guards. Okay. Hold on. Right out of the gate, this feels like where I'm going to get my last guy. Let's see how many there are real quick here. Oh, that's it. So 600s for shooting guards. I feel like I'm going to end up picking one of these guys. We got from the top down here, DeMar DeRozan, Steve Smith, Jerry Stackhouse. Didn't think I'd ever think of Jerry Stackhouse again. NBA Jams legend. Joe Dumars, Byron Scott, Rip Hamilton, Allen Houston. Okay, those last like 3 or 4 names, guys. I don't know. Michael Redd. Cool. Don't know that guy either. Michael Finley, I do know. Again, not really a candidate for my dream team. J.R. Smith, Donovan Mitchell, and Steve Kerr. Guys, I like Steve Kerr. I like Steve Kerr. I mean, I just mentioned NBA Jams 99. He's on fire. He's got mad cat disease. Steve Kerr is exciting. And you know what? Hold on. I'm going to click Steve Kerr really quick. Because we have Steph, right? Steve Kerr is his head coach. And we have MJ. That's a former teammate of Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr, 3-point legend. So maybe not the most versatile guy we could have here, but I think we have a lot of versatility with Wemby and Ben Simmons already. So I think we can cover the positions pretty well. Adding another guard to the mix is definitely what I want to do. A real good guard. And I like that he's an elite all-time legendary 3-ball shooter. NBA Jams 99. He was the highest rated 3-point shooter, and that's where I get a lot of my basketball knowledge. Let's not make any mistakes about it. Steve Kerr was a legend on that game. Pretty sure he had like 99 3-point shooting. He would out 3-point contest anybody on that game. I certainly used him a ton. Steve Kerr is probably for the lowest amount possible. And the fact that he's like a really, I'll say, dominant head coach. I mean, he's part of the Warriors legacy, dynasty of winning championships. I like Steve Kerr here. Ben Simmons, I think, gives us too much versatility to back off of. And Wemby, we paid up an extra 100 to get him to kind of cover these. Like, we didn't spend a lot on our bigs, you guys. We just didn't. Kristaps and Rudy Gobert and Robert Horry, forwards, our starting forwards and centers are not it. They're not what makes the team go. It's definitely Steph and MJ. But to be able to bring in Simmons, Wemby, and Kerr, I like that bench a lot. Steve Kerr has 5 rings plus some as a coach, right? Ben Simmons, 3-time All-Star. I didn't even know that. 2018 Rookie of the Year. Wemby, no bragging rights, but that's insane because he's got some crazy highlights already in his young career. Rudy Gobert, yeah, 3-time DPOY, 3-time All-Star. Kristaps only a 1-time All-Star. He misses a lot of time. I know that. But again, we're assuming he can't get hurt in this. So him, Ben Simmons, even like Wemby with his like thinner body, if we're guaranteeing there's no injury basically, or at least he comes in fully healthy, I like that a lot. I mean, look at this starting 5, you guys. All right, if you have any comments, I'm not sure that I'm going to move from this. So you'd have to make a hell of an argument for me to consider changing this because I'm liking this team a lot. I feel like I did what I was saying. I backed into what I think is a pretty decent chemistry team with Rudy Gobert being that kind of like put him on an island down there at center and just surround him with guys who can score all the way around. And we even got some size in with Porzingis. I like that. It's not just like basically another guard at power forward, but he can do it. He can do some guard stuff. And then we got guys coming off the bench who are like that too in Ben Simmons and Wemby. We got a lot of shooters on the squad, a lot of shooters, which would make John proud. I think if John saw this, John would be proud of me that it's not just a bunch of big rebounders. Like when I saw Andre Drummond, I thought, dude's an all-time rebounder. I would love to have him on the team. I think I glanced over Dennis Rodman for a second in there too. Like, I would love to have those guys, right? But I don't think that's actually the best version of like the team that I could put out here. I think I've landed on it, guys. Here it is. This is the final. I'm not going to overthink this. This is my final dream team. Starting 5. We got Steph Curry starting at point guard. At shooting guard, we have Michael MJ Jordan. Small forward, Robert Horry. 7 rings on him. Look at that. Starting at power forward, we got Kristaps Porzingis. Yeah. European Dream. And starting at center, the big man, Rudy Gobert. We got in some of that French. I don't know who we originally brought up the French thing on, but Rudy is French. So look at that. And coming off the bench, we have soon-to-be Rookie of the Year, Victor Wembanyama, also known as Wemby. We also have Ben Simmons, probably the most lackluster player on the entire team, but we'll take him. He's not going to be shooting on this team. He doesn't need to. Too many shooters already, so he can just rebound and maybe ball handle a little. And to round out the squad, an all-time coach, an all-time player, NBA Jams 99 legend, Steve Kerr. The crowd goes wild for Casey's NBA Dream Team. Guys, that was the exercise. We used our entire budget there. It was an acceptable lineup. We did get the golden check thing, as the rules said we would get. When we have a roster that qualifies, I like my team. If you don't, or if you do, whatever you like, drop comments down into the comment section if you're watching on YouTube. Tell me what you thought of basically everything on this episode, but I'd especially like to hear your take on my dream team. You know, I mean, be nice. Again, I'm an NBA casual fan, but I think I landed in a pretty good spot. I'd love to hear somebody who knows way more about the NBA and these players that I picked and tell me how I did, because I think I did all right. So there's only one more thing left to take care of on today's episode. We are going to round out the episode with our bonus spins, or our giveaway spins. We take all the people who qualify, which, by the way, now is that time I mentioned earlier in the show where I'll give you plenty of time to head over to Playback if you want to win sports memorabilia from DAP Sports. Now's that time. Head on over to Playback because everybody over in Playback, in about 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to put them onto a random wheel, and I'm going to spin that random wheel, and I'm going to spin it probably 4 times. And for all 4 times, whoever the wheel lands on, we'll think of like Wheel of Fortune wheel. I'm gonna give $25 of credit to DAP Sports for sports memorabilia. 4 winners on every show we do. I mean, hey, the winnings add up quick. You can talk to the people in our chat over on Playback if you don't believe me. They've won some pretty cool stuff because they literally are up to hundreds in credits at this point. So they go buy something that's super dope. One day we'll show you all the stuff that they've bought. But that's going to do it for the YouTube portion. So head on over to Playback. That's for the private community. Well, we'll do that. Even if you're watching this after the fact, if you are watching this episode on YouTube, listening on audio podcast, it's not too late. Go to YouTube. It's the easiest place, or actually even on audio, look in the description of the audio podcast. Look in the description of the YouTube video. You can find a link to our Playback. Subscribe to especially the Triple Cross podcast Playback, the main one. We have a football and basketball one separate. I would say make sure you sign up to all of them, honestly, but sign up to the main one, the Triple Cross podcast one. That's what we go live to the most. That's our main Playback. We have 400 members over there right now. So big milestone for us. Let's get to 500 quick, guys. Let's get to 500. Sign up over there. Click into the settings to make sure you get notifications when we go live there. Because when we go live on Playback, it means one thing. It means we're giving away stuff. And if you're live on Playback, you have an equal chance in theory to win as anybody else there. Right now, we have 10 people over there. So you have 4 1 in 10 chances, which essentially equals a 4 in 10 chance to win swag, sports memorabilia from a pretty cool little place called DAP Sports. Our delivery experts for our prizes. They're not the delivery. Megan's the delivery expert. She's who works for us at Triple Cross. She's who handles all that customer feedback stuff for us. So we appreciate her. But DAP Sports, you can get some credit there, buy some cool stuff. Guys, I'm buying time for you to head on over to Playback right now because we're not going to waste too much time today when we head over there. So this is going to do it for the audio episode. Make sure you rate, review our show. For YouTube people, like, subscribe, drop something into the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And then make sure you join us on Playback. That's where I'm headed right now to give away a bunch of stuff. So I'll see you on Playback. Until next time, peace.